It's ain't more money, more problems. That's where we don't got 'em. You must be on a different page.
We are back in the building, guys. This is week 7. We crushed week 6. What else is new? I am Analytics Capper. We have the one and only Sammy Adams, the GOAT, Alpha Dog Bets, and my guy, Dead Prez the Pick. Dead Prez, how was your week, bro?
It was all right, bro. You know, solid week. Solid week. Looking forward to this week. How'd you guys do this week?
It was a good week. It was a good week for me. We crushed the Sunday slate, so we're hoping to carry it in. As we all know, we went 24, 11, and 1 over our last 3 weeks of best bets, so we're all crushing that. Let's keep it rolling tonight.
Yeah, it's like it's feeling good. I think the interesting part is, like we talked about it week 1 and week 2. We gotta, there's injuries coming in, coming out, running backs, QBs, wide receivers, O-line, D-lines. It's a fun one to read now because it's like games are starting to get interesting. Lines are either getting way bigger or way smaller. So let's keep it rocking.
For sure. Guys, thank you so much for joining us again. We do this every single week. Bookmakersreview.com. We've had amazing guests so far. We had Donnie Rightside, our boy out of Philly. We had Slim, the bookie, a couple weeks ago. We have a couple other awesome guests that are slated in the next several weeks. So please keep it locked. Again, bookmakersreview.com. Check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe. There's a ton of content in the description. All right, let's get into last week's Dead Prez. How did you do last week? I know your Eagles kind of lost there on Thursday night, but what about your week?
Yeah, it was an all right week for us. We started that Sunday slate, the early slate. We had a quick 3-0 sweep to the early slate. Had some tough luck on the biggest play that we had this week was the Browns at -3. So that one hurt a little bit. Obviously the Eagles didn't come through and Dallas won. So always a bad week when those two things happen.
Bang.
There's a lot of really good football games. A lot of injuries I feel like have been coming up of late. We'll get into that. Especially for tonight's game, no Baker Mayfield. There was a lot of notable things that happened around the league this week.
Alpha Dog Bets, our resident New York Giants fan. Everybody take a look at his hat. He's already wearing the Knicks.
Oh, no, I didn't even notice.
He's already given up. It was a terrible showing last week, 38-11 at home against the Rams. The Rams in that one game scored more in Giants Stadium than the Giants have the entire year combined. Alpha, let's talk your talk.
Damn, why you gotta do him like that? You did him.
There's not much to say about the Giants this year, guys. The season's over. They have one win, and they've just looked terrible. They just really need to do an overhaul and figure it out because the last 5 years as a Giants fan has been absolutely brutal. They've been the worst team in the league. But besides that, it's been a good year in the NFL. We're starting to get to the good weeks with a lot of good matchups. So looking forward to getting you guys some great picks for today.
Beautiful. There's 2 games left I wanted to touch on for last week. Sammy Adams, you and I kind of went head-to-head last week. The boys from Dallas, America's team, going up to New England. It was a great game. Overtime, Mac Jones actually looked pretty good. Sammy Adams, how do you feel about your team?
I was frustrated because I thought it was going to be like, once we went up 1, I thought it was going to be classic, Belichick run the clock out, maybe not even kick a field goal if we got a first down, and then just the boys D. And penalties, 2 penalties, brought us back 15 yards, and then obviously goes to OT while I'm watching it with a bunch of my homies, and Dak just dials up CD, and it looked like CD was in an empty field.
He was wide open.
Like, bro, how did this man get that wide open? It was wild.
All right, you guys know I'm a big Cowboys fan, born and raised here in Dallas, wearing the Dallas shirt, drinking from the Dallas Cup today. We are in a great situation. Why? They're not playing this week. They are in a bye, so that means we cannot lose our number 1 spot.
Hey, see, also, how about that bad beat for Patriots backers there? I mean, they were set up
bad.
with an easy win late, and then the overtime. Dogs go to die in overtime for sure.
Dogs go to die. Let's all talk about the awesome Monday night game. I'll start with you, Alpha Dog Bets. It was a really back and forth battle between King Henry and the Titans. They were hosting the Bills at home. They won 34-31. It's a great game. How did you see it?
I was on the Bills for this one. This was my only best bet of the week that lost. I was pretty confident about this one as well. Derrick Henry is just a different animal. When he hits the open field and he tops out around 22 miles per hour, there is no stopping that man. He is just an absolute monster. It was a great win for the Titans.
He threw that man who is probably 230 pounds like he was a Lego. Like, goodbye.
Yep. And not the first time. Not the first time he's done that either. He's just a monster. An absolute monster.
I think you and I were on the Titans. Did you see the play where Henry had a full head of steam and it was just Micah Hyde?
I give Micah Hyde a lot of credit.
Gosh.
I mean,
he went for it.
I think 99% of human beings are just pulling back there and letting them go. But that run that Henry had, I think that topped any speed this year of any player.
Yes,
I think it was. I mean, he's just not human the way
he's not human, and he never comes out of the game. He
doesn't get
runs
tired.
at 80 yards, and then he's back in for the 2-point conversion, or he does 7 straight plays and he still plays. Like, the guy is probably doing a P test literally every day because he's not human.
Well, I honestly feel like that's the biggest part of the Titans is you have to open up that run game for Tannehill to open up his run game.
Absolutely.
So it's like that's why I almost like we'll get to the picks of the week, but that's why this week it's like with Chiefs Titans, the Chiefs obviously not great defense. If they let this dude run on them, it's going to be a long day.
All right, Wizard. We just finished last week's slate. Let's get into this week's slate now.
Let's go.
All right, Thursday night football is going to be ugly tonight, boys. It's ugly. There's literally nobody playing on the Browns, nobody playing on the Broncos. It started off as a 5 to 6 point spread. Now it's close to 1.5. The Browns are still favored. I'll start with our GOAT, Sammy Adams. How do you read tonight's game?
So many injuries on both sides. It's going to be ugly. I wanted to absolutely clap the under, but I feel like there is more with Teddy than there is with who?
Case Keenum.
So I mean, like, I think at least him and Sutton can get something going, and getting plus points.
So you like Denver. You like Denver tonight.
Getting plus points on a trash Thursday night game, I'm not mad at it. I think it's a good teaser spot for anyone that's dialed in. I would tease probably Broncos and under, and then just leave that whole John open for the weekend because we got a slate.
Well, Sammy, I guess you could just steal my thunder right from me because my play tonight's going to be exactly what Sammy just suggested. I've teased the Broncos up to an 8-point line and teased the under up to a 48. I just see this game being very close. It's going to finish within a touchdown, I believe, in either direction, so we'd be able to hit that teaser. And under 48 with all the injuries, especially to the quarterback position to the Browns, think they're going to be hammering the run. So let's see this stay under and Broncos plus 8 for the teaser.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a prop here, guys. I like Tim Patrick on his over at 43.5. Like you guys pointed out, it's kind of like who is playing, tonight. Yep. The Broncos, they've been successful throwing the ball. He's kind of becoming Bridgewater's, one of his top guys. Him and Sutton, have done the heavy lifting for them. So I think he'll sneak over that number. But as far as the side here, I think it's still crazy the Browns are a favorite. They're without really their top offensive players, Chubb, Hunt, Baker, and even, he hasn't been himself, but Odell's a guy who can make an impact at times. Obviously, Jarvis Landry's still out, so it's a tough game to read. I would stay off his side, but I would lean in the direction of Cleveland getting it done.
It's probably because it's at Browns. That's probably what's like the sole factor.
Yeah.
It not being even for both on money line.
That's the 3 points.
I
Right.
do echo. Yeah, I do echo Dead Prez here. I'm not on a side in particular. Again, it's going to be bad weather tonight. Wind gusts up to 20, 30 miles per hour. So the passing game is going to be negated by the weather. And then you have the Broncos, who are actually, I believe, 3-6 in their last 9 against the spread. So it's kind of a very tough call. Let's go ahead and move to Sunday. Joey B, my guy, going up against one of the front runners right now for MVP, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I'll start with Dead Prez picks. It's a 6 to 6.5 point favorite, depending on the book. The Ravens at home. How do you feel about this game?
See, I love the Bengals in this spot this week. Joey B, he's becoming one of my favorites too now. I see. I know you've been on his train covering the spreads and betting on him a lot. I just think getting a touchdown for the Bengals is a lot of points, like a ton of points here. The Ravens they seem to like to play close in a lot of games. I know last week they beat the brakes off the Chargers, but it doesn't seem like they blow a ton of teams out. They obviously like to run the football a lot. They're not a super dynamic team. They kind of, do what they do, their brand of football. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here with the points. I think Burrow can keep them in the game. And, I think that they get it done and cover the spread.
For sure. If I were to take a side in this one, I would lean the Bengals. I'm going to be taking the under 46.5, guys. I think the Ravens defense is very good. They'll do a good job of slowing down Joey B in that offense. And I see the Ravens doing what they do and running the ball. So give me the under 46.5.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the Ravens is they've just been so, topsy-turvy. Like, they beat the Lions by a field goal, and there's obviously, last week they looked great. Like, that was MVP Lamar. He looked fantastic, but I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about this week, and I think like Joe Burrow's hung in there, with the pack and with Aaron Rodgers. So just mirroring everything else, I think +7 is definitely something to take.
Awesome. We have some really good analysis right now by our guys, Sammy, Adam, and Dead. We also have a ton of comments, so let me get to a few. I mentioned some of our guests coming up. We have Adrian Fernandez, who wants Beyonce as the next guest. We will work on that for you for sure.
That's all alpha. That's all alpha.
Yeah,
We're really me and Beyonce. We're super close. I'll shoot her a text after the show.
Queen B. Sammy actually has her on the text, so we can get that set up. Zach Betts, cheers, boys. Keep killing it. I appreciate Zach, all your support. And let's see. He also teased the game tonight as well and the over, so maybe a potential middle spot for him. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next game. We have Danny Dimes. He was not himself, let's say the least, last week, coming back from concussion protocol. He's hosting the Carolina Panthers and Sam Darnold. I'll start with our resident Giants fan. Let's get your analysis here.
Nobody should touch the Giants for the rest of the season. They absolutely are a terrible team this year. They don't execute on anything. The game plan is atrocious, and they just don't have heart this year. They just didn't really care. I'm not going to touch this game. As every week, guys, I don't play my Giants, but I'm not going to be playing the other side either. I'll just watch them crash and burn like I do weekly, so I have no action on this one.
Sammy Adams, you are there in the city as well. How are you feeling about the Giants? I know the Patriots are your team, but let's hear what your thoughts are on the Giants.
I mean, it was a way better start than I thought they were going to have, but it has gone nuclear and not nuclear in a good direction. So, like Alpha said, it's like this is a steer clear game. Oddly enough, I think some of the bigger lines, like if they get blown out this week, I think they do have the ability to cover, but I don't. It's just sketchy. It's like unless you really want a sweaty Sunday.
Alpha, I know I do this every week, but I do love the Giants this week again.
Can you stop? Can you just stop?
Home. Give me the Giants today. I'm not gonna. It's not a best bet, but it's definitely a lean today for me. Dead Press picks. Let's move on to a big game early Sunday. We have Mahomes and the aforementioned King Henry and the Titans at home in Tennessee. Are you on the side here? Any good props here for you?
Yeah, so far, I'm not on anything yet in this game. A lean of mine in this would be I took it last week, Kansas City's team total over. I just think their offense kind of gets a little possessed here. Next couple weeks, kind of waking up Mahomes, not a good thing. The media's been on him pretty hard. At the beginning of the season, and deservedly so. He hasn't played near his abilities, but last week it snuck over 30.5. They got a late touchdown against Washington. I think this could just be a shootout. Like Tennessee is a weird team because offensively they don't look like they're gonna, like Tannehill. They're not like a sexy offensive team outside of Henry, but they score points and their defense isn't all that strong. So I think in this game I would lean with just any type of over, but I like Kansas City again to have another big offensive week.
I would agree with you on that as well. I don't have a side or a total in this one. I'm going to touch on this game during my best bets. This may be a parlay piece for me, so stay tuned with this one for later. I will have more on this game.
All right. Next game here, also early Sunday morning. This is actually
Hold on, Macy.
Go ahead.
We're live, boys.
Hey.
There you go. Sammy Adams on the live and Instagram. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. All right. Next game here is the Falcons versus the Dolphins. I'm a big follower in this game, A, because I'm most likely going to have money on this game, but B, the Deshaun Watson watch to Miami is on. I think it's going to happen very, very soon. But right now, the Dolphins are at home. They're a 2.5-point underdog. I'm going to say it's an Atlanta play. I got them at -2 earlier in the week. That is one of my best bets. Alpha Dog Bets, how are you going to analyze this game?
So this isn't a game that I love, guys. There's just so much going on with both teams right now. Neither team is particularly good. The Dolphins have underperformed extremely so far this year. If I was to touch a total in this game, guys, I would go under 48, but this is not one of the games that I would love to play this week.
Okay. Sammy Adams, our GOAT. He is live right now on Instagram. Give us your play. South Beach, they're getting 2.5 points. The Dolphins and the terrible Falcons. Who would you pick on this game?
I'm taking the Dirty Birds. I can't trust.
There you go. My guy.
There's a lot of things. Who knows where Tua's going? It's Tua turned the ball over. That's one of the funniest we've done this week.
That's a good one.
I think that's nice. You got a nice 290 to 500 on the live. I'll post that on the story too. I can't trust either team, but if it's a toss up for me, I'm probably going to stay well away from this game. But I would take Falcon, maybe by the hook down to 2.
Makes sense. All right, another big AFC matchup, or 2 AFC East teams. Dead Prez. Let's go. Jets, Patriots. Are the Patriots finally going to find some footing? Is Mac Jones finally going to take the step forward? They're a big touchdown favorite in this game. We have a friend here on Twitter, Learlocks, who's a big Zach Wilson fan. But how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I kind of think New England, puts a beat down on them here. So I'm probably going to be back in Mac here with the points. It's a spot I actually like them a lot in the first half. At -4, -3.5, you got to see your book, what you're going to get there. But it's always a good idea to fade the Jets. I think the Patriots, they've played well. Like they could have easily beat the Bucs, right? They could have easily beat Dallas. Mm-hmm. So they're just a couple plays away from actually having a pretty good season so far. And we know what the Jets are. So I like the Patriots here in the first half of this game.
So, guys, kind of what Aaron Rodgers said this week in Chicago is kind of how I feel like Bill Belichick is with the Jets. He owns the Jets. The Jets have nothing against Bill Belichick, and I think the Patriots get this done, guys. 6.5 is a lot of points, but there is nobody at coming up with a game plan better than Bill Belichick. So give me the Pats and give me him by the points.
Alf and Bill Belichick's game plan. He talks about it every week, guys. Believe it. All right, let's go into some of the late games on Sunday. Let's talk about Chicago. Justin Fields, he's basically QB1 now, traveling to Tampa Bay. This is probably the biggest spread, second biggest spread of the week. 12.5 points. Brady is the favorite here. I'll start with Sammy Adams. Brady is your GOAT. He is super handsome. Is he going to cover the 12.5 points?
I mean, like we said, week 1, week 2, anything over 10 points is a lot of points, but I don't think there should be any problem for like the Bucs D. I think they get off the field quick. Brady gets a lot of looks. I would honestly look at prop bets for probably. I mean, if you're like playing FanDuel, DraftKings, definitely lock in AB. He's been going off, but I don't see the Bears D even with some D line beasts. I don't see them not losing by at least 14. So I think this is not fair.
Dead Prez, yeah, I agree. Dead Prez, you and I are very similar when it comes to capping the NFL. We'd like to find the value in the dogs. Do you think there's value here in Chicago, or is this a layaway for you?
Yeah, I like the Bears a lot. I just think there's so many points. Like in the NFL, when I see over 10, like it's just I just like it. Like the Bucs weren't very good last year at all at home, covering big spreads. So, and last year, you got to remember the Bears did beat the Bucs, despite Nick Foles being on the other side of the sideline. We know Tom Brady doesn't like to see Nick Foles, but he did see a similar Bears defense last year, who was able to keep them in check. And we got to remember the Bucs have the worst secondary in football, even though Jalen Hurts and the Eagles made them look a lot better than they were last weekend. I think if this thing that scares me is Matt Nagy, but if he has a good game plan, which is saying a lot, right? And, they throw the football and use Fields rolling out and involve him a lot in the passing game. I think that the Bears cover this thing. I don't want to say easily, but I don't think we're going to be stressing this one here. I like the Bears a lot.
Final thoughts, Alpha?
I'm on the Bucs. I think that defensive line by the Bucs is going to get to Fields, and I think that they're going to harass him all game, and he's going to really struggle. Give me the Bucs by the points, but I definitely don't like taking spreads above 10, so not something I would go too heavy on. But Bucs by the points.
All right, our Philly boy Dead Press picks. You have your Eagles. They're traveling on the road to Vegas. Beautiful stadium, crazy atmosphere. It's going to be Sunday. They're going to be drunk. How do you feel about your Hurts and the Eagles traveling to Derek Carr?
This is one, guys, I like the over a lot in this game. I just see a lot of points here between, the Eagles defense now a little bit more banged up. The Raiders are a weird team. They're either like really good or just god awful. So it's a little scary putting money on teams like that. The Eagles, they seem like they're going to be able to put up points in this spot. The over right now at 49. As far as the side, I honestly think it's a really tough side to back either team. A lot going on with the Raiders, obviously, although they did have an impressive win last week. But my favorite bet in this game is going to be the over.
I'm going to agree with Dead Press here. Another play where the two of us kind of align. I like the over here as well. I know the whole John Gruden thing, it actually kind of brought the team together for the Vegas Raiders. I'm not going to be on the side. That line is a little fishy. 3 points at home. But I do like the points. I actually like the Eagles team total over as well to kind of be the same side as the points. Alf, what about you?
Give me the Raiders, guys. It's one of my favorite plays of the week. The Raiders -3. I think they're really rallying over the whole Gruden situation. I think they're going to continue to play well, and they want to prove that they're a good team. It wasn't just because of Gruden they were doing so well. They're a good team. They have the right players. And the Eagles, I'm sorry, Dad, I think you're going to need to be drunk with those fans a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up.
Every Sunday.
All right, Sammy Adams, thank you so much for jumping on live earlier, but we have the biggest spread of the week. Is there any way Davis Mills and that neck and the Texans can cover 18 points against Kyler Murray in Arizona?
What do you say? So this is actually it's not one of my plays of the week. We'll get there. I don't think they covered the spread, but once you tease it with something else, it's just a boatload of points. So I think, the Texans didn't look terrible against the Pats D. The Pats D's looked pretty good. I mean,
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And it's insane because I think every single person probably faded Texans and Pats to win by 9.5 or whatever it was.
I did.
I personally took the Pats, and then it was like, oh wow, like we're down touchdowns in the third quarter with 5 minutes left. Granted, we won the game, But they're trying to figure it out. I don't think they'll figure it out all year, but once you tease this, it's like it's just too many points, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I don't think you can touch it.
Yeah, it's hard to touch. I mean, 17, 18, anything above 2 touchdowns in the NFL is crazy. But I do want to reset the room again. We do this every week. Right now, we're live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Check us out on bookmakersreview.com. YouTube right now, we're getting a ton of comments, so please leave some comments for us before we get into our best bets. Let's get into some of the primetime games for this upcoming week, and I'll start with Dead Prez. We have your boy Carson Wentz traveling to San Francisco in that Bay Area. Right now, it's 3.5 to 4 point favorite for the 49ers. Is this a Colts play? Because I think it is.
I'm with you. I'm backing my boy again with Wentz. I think the Colts get it outright in this game. I'm not a Trey Lance guy at all. Like I don't think he's. At least I'm not right now. Like I hope he's good for your. I hope
Agreed.
He gets into it, but I think it's a lot putting 4 points on him versus a. I don't want to say the Colts are a great defense, good defense. Like they're another defense, very streaky. But I think on the other side of things, the Colts have played. They're another team who's been in a lot of games. They're gonna play tough. The one thing they did really well is possess the ball. So they're a good team to take as a dog because they try and use a ton of clock, control time of possession. So I like the Colts a lot in this football game. I actually do think they win this outright.
Okay, Alpha, talk your talk.
All right, guys, I'm on the under. This is one of my favorite plays of the week. I have it at 49.5. Locked it in yesterday. I think this is going to be a ground game. I think both teams are going to run. But I do want to touch on something on the Colts. They've been doing something very interesting with Taylor. They've been putting him out as a wide receiver, which has been very effective for them. And it's been absolutely a new kind of way to use the running back. He's been lining up in the slot, and he busted, I believe, a 65-yard touchdown last week. Yeah, Watch out for Taylor. He's been a monster this year, but I still think this game goes under.
Alpha, you mean 44.5, right? I think you said 49.5, but you meant 44.5 this game.
Let me
he bought 5.
Yeah, 44.5. Sammy, Sunday Night Football, Colts.
Yeah,
San Francisco 49ers. How do you feel about this one?
I think Jimmy G comes back shaky, to be honest. And giving Colts like 4, like maybe this game ends Niners win by 3, but I think that's too many points. 4.5 points to give the Colts. Frank Reich is a great coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to manage the clock. I think a lot of these like weirdly like extra 1.5, 2 points either giving or getting is because of like their home or away, and I honestly don't think that'll affect the Colts. Like there's never really bad weather in LA or San Francisco or San Diego, so I think the Colts, and I like what Jet said. I think they have a high potential. Like they potentially could win this game outright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, moving on to Monday night. I wouldn't say this is one of my favorite bets, but I am going to be backing the Saints here on the road. I'm just not a big believer in Geno Smith and that Seahawks defense, so I think Jameis kind of shows up. It's prime time. He's had some, Mr. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type games already this season, but I think he's going to be on for this game. So give me the Saints at -4.5 on the road. I'll start with Dead. You agree or disagree with that?
As far as the side, I would agree. I mean, I'm just not putting my money down, on Geno Smith right now on that Seahawks offense. Although last week it was interesting kind of how they, were able to mount that comeback late against Pittsburgh and force their hand in overtime, which was a crazy game. I think with the spread here, it's going to suggest the Saints way for sure. But my favorite play in this one is going to be the first half under. I like the pace that both of these teams play for and under. The Saints are going to try and run the football a lot with Kamara, and it's always a little scary back and one with Winston because his turnovers and you never know what you're going to get with him. But I like this number here for first half under. But as far as the side, AC, I would lean with you and on the Saints.
I am also on the Saints with AC. I'm also on the Saints as well. But talking about Geno Smith, he really has not done a bad job leading that offense. And the running game last week for the Seahawks was very impressive with Alex Collins. He kind of filled right in and didn't seem like that offense missed a beat in the running aspect. I wouldn't be too sure Geno's going to do a bad job, but I would take the Saints by 4.5 in this one.
The only thing for me with Geno is his O-line is not showing out. I mean, he's been sacked. He was sacked 5 times last week. I think 4.5 or 5 times the week before as well against the Rams. He just needs better. He needs better protection. Otherwise, you can't throw the ball. You can't. Last week they got the run game started, and then he could start to throw the ball. But it's the same thing for a lot of teams like Tannehill and the Titans and Lamar. Like, you have to be able to throw the ball or run the ball to open up both. So
for sure. And I mean, Seattle didn't play poorly last week. It was a miraculous play by TJ Watt, forcing that fumble and getting the Steelers in field. He is a stud. The Seahawks, honestly, is more than just Geno Smith, right? They were having issues even with Russell Wilson. They're 1-4 straight up in their last 5. They've gone under 11 of their last 15 games, and they're only 2-4 against the spread at home. So they really actually, that 12th man in Seattle it hasn't been the same for a couple years now. And so I just think it's a great spot for Jameis to kind of show out. All right, let's go ahead and move to the best bets. Alpha, let's get to that.
All right, let's get into best bets. Wizard? All right, guys. So I had an error on my one. It's 45 for the Colts 49ers under. That's my first best bet of the weekend. The second one is going to be the Raiders -3 from what we went over earlier. And then I'm taking a money line parlay as my favorite play of the week, guys. I love the Chiefs, Packers, both on the money line. You can get it at a -110 odd, and I think that both teams are going to win this. So Chiefs, Packers, money line.
All right, for me, so I align with you on the Chiefs there because the Chiefs -5.5. You can get it at 5 now is my best bet of the week for the show. I'm also on the Falcons -2. Like I said earlier, I just don't think Miami is going to do much with Tua, and there's just too much talk right now between is Deshaun Watson coming? Is there a trade coming? So I'm going to fade the Dolphins in that game. And the game tonight, I like to start out a teaser. It's been crazy for me the last few weeks. I went 3-0 last week on best bets, 3-0 the week before. Hoping to sweep it again this week, and I always started out with a teaser on Thursday night. I'm getting the Broncos +10 and the under at 49. I will say the caveat is I got this on Tuesday, so it's moved a lot since then, but I still think there's some value there.
Yeah, guys, so for me this week, we touched on this one a little bit earlier on, but I love the Bengals. Grabbed them at +7. I did buy the hook early in the week. I still think they're good at 6.5 or 6. It's a little bit of insurance here with a full touchdown dog. As far as the next one goes, the Panthers, I'm fading Alpha's Giants here, which has been a good thing for most of the year.
Smart move.
There we go. And Matt Rule, he's been really good in these spots on the road. I think the Panthers bounce back this weekend at -2.5 here at -115. And then my favorite bet of the week, and it is a scary one, but we're going to go with the gunslinger with Davis Mills here and the Texans. I think 17.5 is ridiculous despite how bad that they have been at times. The Cardinals here, they're not going to take this opponent nearly as serious in this game, and they're still due for a letdown, so maybe we'll see a Texans money line sprinkle in there.
Yes, sir. Getting on to mine, I totally agree with the last sentiment from Ted. I'm teasing Texans up to 24, which is like that's like the Warriors like 4 years ago playing like the insane. I'm also gonna tease that with Panthers Giants under 49. This is -30. This will probably move a little bit, but I don't. 24 is just insane.
Yeah, that's wild. That's probably the highest I've seen.
I think it's the highest. I think it's the highest teaser I've ever seen. And then second pick is Colts +4.5, -120. I think they get it done, like we said earlier on the show. There's a potential that they could win this outright. Just some problems within San Francisco that I think the Colts can totally blow wide open. And then I know you guys are probably going to clown me for this, but I'm taking the Broncos for pick of the week tonight.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I like it. Put your neck on the line. I like that a lot. Some trends, guys, that are pretty big right now. The primetime overs are continuing to hit, but even with that being said, the unders are winning in the season. So these Sunday night, afternoon and early games, the unders have been killing. So look into those opportunities and spots moving forward. Dead Press, let's get into the questions of the week.
All right, question time, Wizard. All right, guys. So for the first question, we are going to go with this first one. So are the Cardinals going to continue to be one of the best teams in the league starting 6-0, or will they collapse like last year when they started hot at 5-2? That's from Exemplify. We will start with Alpha here. What do you think on this one?
That's a great question, actually. I think that they're going to continue to do well. They play Houston this week, and then they play at home versus Green Bay. I think the Green Bay game may be their first loss, but they could pull that one out. And then after that, they play at San Francisco, Carolina, and at Seattle. So they do have some winnable games. I see them continuing this hot run, maybe picking up 1 or 2 losses over the next 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, it's a really good point, too, being made that, you look at last year, a lot of people were very high on the Cardinals as well. AC, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I mean, you and I are very similar with sentiments when it comes to the Cardinals. I think they're a good team. They've always been talented the last few years. But it's really the Cliff Kingsbury angle that I don't really love. But I would say one thing. If he's going to help Kyler Murray cut down on those turnovers, then they are a really, really hard team to beat. That home crowd is actually very, very underrated. The energy is crazy there in Phoenix. So they could have a really good year. I don't know. Obviously, it's almost impossible to go undefeated. But Russell Wilson getting hurt, in NFC West does help the Cardinals as well. So their real main competition are the Rams. Record-wise, maybe the Cardinals are just going to be like a 15-2, 14-3 type team.
But it's also, I mean, we touched a lot on the offense. The defense is showing out.
Absolutely.
Just crushing. Like, I remember, I think it was first week or second week, like 5 sacks. Next week, 3 sacks. Next week, 4 sacks. Like, if they keep this up, it's like when you put Kyler Murray on the field for 3 quarters, almost 3 whole quarters of the game, he is going to put numbers up. Mm-hmm. So I think the Cardinals look fantastic, just like AC just said about, San Francisco, everyone else. I mean, Wilson being out, it's going to be really interesting, but I do not see anyone topping them going into playoffs.
You know who's been a good addition for them has been AJ Green. He's gotten so many catches this year with his sure hands. He's really made that offense a different dynamic level with him in the lineup. So I'm excited to see what they do the rest of the year.
Yeah,
imagine
AJ
on the Bengals.
Yeah, AJ's a little bit. AJ's past his prime. Yeah, he's past his prime. He's been coming off of a couple major injuries the last few years, but the talent is definitely there. The size is definitely there. So he's always going to be a weapon, especially in the red zone.
And adding J.J. Watt to that defense, I mean, they're a scary team. But I agree with you, AC. We'll have to see how Cliff does, when the plot thickens and the playoffs come, how his coaching skills will be. All right, Wizard, we'll get to question 2, please. All right, from Jeff Z. If both QBs stay healthy, who starts for San Francisco this week and going forward? Sammy, we'll start with you on this one.
I mean, I think just because of the money and confidence they have, there's no way that they're not going to start Garoppolo, but there's just so many different angles where Lance works. Like, I think in the red zone, he works incredibly well. I honestly think Lance has shown us a lot in terms of just like being able to read defenses. It's kind of impressive. So, who knows? I think this weekend will kind of be like the telling sign of who should be starting. But I feel like the Niners organization's not going to start Garoppolo.
Yeah, it almost seems like they want to push him out. Like, I don't know what the big. I mean, I understand Lance being a high draft pick, right? But all Jimmy's done in his NFL career is won. Like I don't get the rush to push him out of a team right now that is a very capable roster. I mean, they were one of the favorites to come out of the NFC in the preseason. So Alpha, what do you think?
I'm with you. I actually am a big believer in letting the rookie quarterback sit a little bit, especially if you could tell that they're not ready. And in my opinion, I don't think Lance is ready to be the full-time starter for an NFL team yet. So don't ruin his confidence. Don't let him get hurt back there. Give him the reps he needs in practice and let Jimmy G lead you guys for at least a few more weeks into the season.
I think you guys all make really good points. I think that the issue here is there's just disconnect within the organization. I think half the organization wants Lance, half wants Jimmy G. They've already paid Jimmy, so it's almost like they're pot committed to have Garoppolo start. But honestly, if you watch the games on TV, the players react more to Trey. Like they want Trey to play. They want him to run the ball, get into the end zone, because they want the mindset of the bruising, the run you over type of team, and that's what you're gonna get with Trey Lance. And I agree with Dad too. The other side is Jimmy Garoppolo's winning percentage as a starter in this league, and it's not a very small sample size, right? He's been in this league for several years now, is really, really impressive. So if they want to win, I would say probably Jimmy G for at least this year. But if they want to make the fans happy and make the team happy, then it has to be Trey Lance.
Yeah, and just a couple of years back too, he balled into a Super Bowl, right? Like they were about to win the Super Bowl. They had a lead late in the fourth. So I mean, I always find this situation kind of fascinating with him that people want him out. Especially at this stage. Just do packages for Lance. Obviously, involve him in the game, but I think Garoppolo should be the starter moving forward.
I think all four of us agree that Trey is not ready to run his own team and run a full playbook at this stage in his career. He could be right in a few weeks or maybe next year, but right now you got to game plan for him. Okay, he's awesome short distance and goal line. Well, what is he 3rd and 15? Can you trust him there? So it's hard because right now, and it's not his fault. He's a rookie. He's still young, and he's still maturing as someone who's gonna read defenses. Right? It's more than just being athletic.
I agree. I think it's a totally different situation than in Chicago, where it's just put Fields in and let's let the guy figure it out because Dalton's not that guy. But when you have Garoppolo and you've already dropped hella mills on this.
Absolutely
true.
You can't.
And they have a playoff roster. The Bears don't.
The Bears are not ready, but also Justin Fields is more NFL ready in my opinion than Trey Lance.
He played at Ohio State too, which I think is a big help, right? Playing in a pro system versus Lance coming from a Division II. So, all right, Wizard, can we please get question 3 here? We got some good questions this week. Also, want to thank everyone. I think we had 25 questions, so it was tough to narrow it down. But from Sports Bets here, thoughts on Case Keenum to win and beat the Broncos Thursday night without Chubb and Kareem? AC, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, we've been talking about this game basically all episode. I think Sammy is on the Broncos. I think myself and Alpha are teasing the Broncos. But I would say if I had to pick a side, if I just money line, there's no juice or lines involved, I still think the Browns are the better team, and they're at home. The weather is bad, so I just like the favorite in that aspect. So I actually think Case can do it. And honestly, Case had his best years when he was being coached by Kevin Stefanski. So Stefanski's there now as the head coach for the Browns, and I think it's kind of like the Carson Wentz, Frank Wright, dynamic. I think it's going to be very similar here with Case.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Broncos somehow the Browns somehow win this game tonight just because the line stayed where it has. And maybe we see Case Keenum of, the Vikings when he took them to the NFC Championship and get something done. But it's going to be kind of a fascinating game with all these guys out.
Yeah, it's going to be so bad that it's going to be
good.
Yeah.
It's going to stay close, we hope, for Thursday night game. But today also, it's just going to be such an interesting game. Running the football, it's just crazy. They have the best two-headed monster in the league, and now they're both.
And Alpha, before we get to you, but Dead Press tweeted this earlier, but this is the first time in I mean, this is the 25th time I think in the history of the world where we have all four sports going on at once. So it's one of those nights where you have Thursday night football on the TV, you have basketball, hockey, and baseball. Again, baseball playoffs are still going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much action tonight. It's a great night. But I think I'm on the same boat as Sammy here. I think you're with me. I think the Broncos get it done. I really do.
Side bet?
Are we doing this again, guys? I don't know if y'all want me and Sammy's side bet again.
No, not yet.
They don't want it, Sammy.
I'm a big fan of Teddy covers, so I can't do it.
Well, it's like the thing like you said, you have this two-headed monster with Chubb and Baker, but like there's just multiple injuries too on their D line. So I think that's a huge part of the reason I like getting a point here for the Broncos, because it's like if you can't get pressure on Teddy, he can still run. And I think it's probably a close one, probably most likely an under, but these are scary unders because it's like 39, 40, and it's like, it could easily be like defensive touchdown.
Exactly. What kills unders, right?
It's like a weird.
Yes.
It's like almost like it almost makes you want to prop bet. Like, will there be a defensive touchdown? It's like somehow in this terrible game.
No, there probably will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good game to bet, like first touchdown, like defense, special teams.
Yes, exactly.
Bet something weird in this game, but
something crazy like first and last touchdowns are defense. Probably like plus 5,000.
It's gonna
Kicker
be
to score 2 touchdowns. Kicker to score at least 2 touchdowns. Lock it in.
Something like that. All right, Wizard, we'll get to our last fourth question here and final question. All right, this is from Oliver R. Stone. Which team has the greater chance to not cover their huge favorite spread this week? We got the Rams minus 16, Cards minus 17.5, or Bucks minus 12. I'm going to go with none of them covered. What do you guys think?
Wow.
So the question is, which team has the greater chance to not cover? So which team will not cover?
This one.
He's saying all of them.
I don't think that the Cardinals will particularly cover the 17.5. I think it'll end around 14, but I do think that at least the Bucks cover the minus 12. But yet again, not touching anything above 14, so not touching Rams or Cards this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think same. It's like even if the Cards are up by 21, the Texans just once they kind of take their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter, it's like that is such a sweaty line to take. Like, all you need is like a field goal or like a touchdown. Granted, the Texans haven't been great, even though they kind of looked good against my Pats.
I'm gonna go out on the limb here, guys. I'm gonna say the Rams have the worst chance to cover.
Okay.
I think it's going to be most likely one of the most public, or if not the most public bet of the week. Everybody loves the Rams. Everybody loves McVay and Stafford. But give me Jared Goff and a revenge game this week.
Okay.
He's going to cover in LA. So give me the Lions. If I had to choose between these three, give me the Lions to cover 16 points.
Yeah, well, it is tough. I mean, this is also kind of a crazy week to see 3 spreads really this big, especially with the Cardinals and the Rams. I mean, whenever you're getting those points in the NFL, just because the flow of an NFL game, like you're only getting X amount of possession. So, I mean, if you can really have like a good quarter, you might be able to cover that game off of 15 good minutes. So,
absolutely.
We don't see these spreads normally in the NFL. We're accustomed to seeing them in college, but it should be interesting this week to see how these spreads pan out for sure.
It's crazy. Looking back at some of last week's college football spreads, just to kind of like put it in perspective, Rutgers had a smaller spread against Ohio State than multiple NFL games. It just makes no sense. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a Rutgers Giants fan, so life has been fantastic in football this year. And 1-0, baby. 1-0. Yankees, they did good. I don't know. Yep, New York
Yankees
New York Rangers.
Jesus, not do well. It's World Series or bust for the Yankees, and they busted this year. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. BookmakersReview.com. You have the GOAT, Sammy Adams. You have Dead Prez Picks. the one and only Alpha Dog Bets and AC here. Please go to the YouTube, click the like and subscribe buttons. Check out all the links and content in the description. Sammy Adams closes out this week. You get the final words.
Final words. Don't bet the big spreads.
There we go.
And also tonight, UL Lafayette game. Go big over.
Alpha's taking the final word. Let's go, Giants. We coming back. Season starts now. Let's go. See y'all next week.
Thank you, Wizard.
See you guys.
Wizard.